I'm starting the video by showing you my little collection because I wanted to show people out there, if you're brand new to brewing and you've never done it before, but you want to try it, you don't have to get a lot of fancy equipment and carboys and all this other stuff. You can actually do it with the jug that the water comes in and a package of dollar balloons from the celebration department at the Big W store. That's what I did here. It works fine. Honestly, I'm not sure if the balloons are food grade, but I don't really think there's any such thing as food grade. So I just washed the powder out of them and clean them off and use those. Works great. Put a tray underneath though, because sometimes they do spit and make a little mess. But if you're a first-time brewer, you probably should not buy any equipment yet until you decide whether you want to do it or not. At that point, if you decide you do your first brew, and if you decide that it's a habit that you, whoops, sorry, I need a hobby that you want to get into, then you can go ahead and buy some equipment and carboys and all that jazz. If you are able to, though, a hydrometer is probably the first thing you should buy. That will be the most helpful thing. That out of the way, I'm going to tell you about the wine. It's a beautiful sunny day here, and it got me feeling, I'm going to make a light, crisp, sunny wine. I've already done tomato wine. It's quite lovely. So I got thinking, how about a nice cucumber wine? And then we'll add a little bit of tomato to it. I think it will be delicious. So that's what we're going to make today, right here on Papa Mark's place. Okay, here we go. Now for the fun part. I wanted to show you, if you're new and you don't know what this is a hydrometer. It registers the gravity of the liquid. So when you put sugar in your water, it changes the gravity and it makes it float up. If there's none in there, it'll float almost all the way down. So we use this to tell how much sugar is in our, what we call must, or our wine. I'm going to use this. I've been collecting the juice from our tomatoes and our cucumbers. I'm going to put it in here. I'm going to add the water. I'm going to add our sugar. And then I'm going to take what they call a gravity reading. We're going to see how much sugar is in there, if we need to add a little bit more. Then we can add the fruit. The fruit, it doesn't really matter. There's no sugar to speak of in cucumber or tomato. There's maximum for 3 pounds, maybe total of 12 grams, which is about, I think, 3 teaspoons, which, like I said, really is nothing. So we've got here, for our little yeasties, we have 2.5 pounds. What I've done here is I've taken some of my spring water. Don't take it out of the tap. Get spring water. Put it in a pan on the stove with my sugar. Let it melt. Not too high. If you do it too high, it's going to burn. You just want to melt the sugar into the water. Let it cool. I've done that with all this stuff. It's all cooled. Here I have my yeast nutrient. I can't afford to buy it, so I made my own yeast hulls. They're just plain old regular bread yeast. You put it in some water on the stove, bring it to a boil, put it about 160 degrees for 10 minutes, boom, done. Surprisingly, yeast are little cannibals. So if you take dead yeast and you throw them in there into your wine must, the live yeast will go crazy. They'll have a party. I also have 2 tea bags. This is black tea in about 1/2 cup of water. I let it steep for 10 minutes. It's not about the flavor of the tea. So don't think you can put like peppermint or chamomile or whatever in there and it'll make a difference. You won't taste it, but a lot of those don't have tannins in them. That's the whole point of the black tea. You want the tannins. I use 2 bags. You usually only use 1, but I use 2. Here I've been collecting the cucumber juice and the tomato juice. Cucumbers here, I cut them up last night and I froze them solid. If you can do that with your fruit when you're making a wine, that's a great way to do it because it breaks the cells down and brings out more juice. I have my 2 ounces of golden raisins. You don't have to chop them, but I do because I like them all chopped and smaller. And we're about ready to start. I had this bottle in front of me. As I said, if you don't have cardboards or whatever, you can take the bottle that you get your spring water in. This one actually is a vinegar bottle, and I'm using it because it's food grade and it's nice and heavy because it has vinegar in it. And unfortunately, you can't see through it, but as time goes by, I'll take video of the wine as it starts to clear, and you'll see all that too. I had to put these in 2 separate containers, but this one's got the little pour thing in it, so it'll make it easier. This is just simple sugar water, or what they call simple syrup. Simple syrup is just water and sugar. Then you heat it so it dissolves. And turns into clear, crystal, liquid sugar water. Now you always start with the sugar first. This is why I'm starting with this. I'm pouring this in here just simply because this has the little pour spout and this one doesn't. Alright. It's all my sugar. Well, almost all of it. Half of it. Sorry. Bad habit. At least it wasn't a Toys R Us song. I drove the people in my life crazy with that song for years. It just kept running through my head constantly and constantly. And unfortunately for them, it ran through their head every day too because I couldn't stop singing that song. It just made them crazy. Worked with one girl. She said, they owe you money. You should go to work for them. Doing all that advertising. I said, yeah, right? Go tell them that. Your lips to Toys R Us ears, but they never agreed. Excuse me. All right. Now, we're going to take all this lovely juice. You know, it's a shame because people waste this. This is all the juice that came out of the cucumber and all the juice that came out of the tomato. This is kind of what the finished wine is going to look like, but it's much clearer. Okay? Now we are going to put that in with our sugar. I know it sounds weird. Sugar and tomatoes. But trust me, the sugar is not for you. The sugar is for all the little yeasties. That's what they eat. People don't realize to make wine, you have to ferment things. And to do that, you have to use yeast. And yeast are actually living organisms. And you have to feed them or they die, just like anything else. So, now we're going to put our tea in. All of this stuff has to be let sit till it's room temperature. Do not put it in warm. If you put in any ingredients too warm and it heats it up too much and then you put your yeast in, you'll kill the yeast because they can't take the heat. But we're not putting yeast in right away anyways. Okay. This here is yeast nutrient and yeast hulls, as I said. I'm going to put this aside because once we're done here, we're going to wait 24 hours. Then we're going to pitch our yeast. And I'll tell you about that in a little while. But right now, I'm putting that aside because we're not going to put that in right now. So, just mix it around a bit. So the whole point is you want to mix up all your sugar. If you aerate it, that's fine. Because once you put your yeast in it, yeast like air. in the beginning while they're building colonies and making friends and stuff. It's afterwards when they start making alcohol that's when the air part is bad. At that point, you can oxidize your wine and ruin it. But at this stage, it's a good thing. Make sure your hand is clean and sanitized. Mine is. Everything I use, it's all clean and sanitized. I can't afford Star San, so I just use simple bleach of water and common sense. Again, my hand is clean. Mix up all my sugar water, all my juice. My friend, well, he's not a friend, but I watch him, he's a mentor. Brian over at City Steady. He says, you shake the bejesus out of it. He said, and then when you think you're all shaken and all done, shake it some more for another 2 minutes. I don't know, something like that. Okay. This is the worst part for an old dude who's freaking blind. You know, I went to the eye doctor, he goes, wow, you're kind of blind, aren't you? I was like, I don't know. Am I? He goes, yeah. You got 230 in one eye and 240 in the other one. He goes, yeah, you're blind. It's like, oh, that's not good to hear that from the eye doctor. But anyways, there's all kinds of focals on here. And what this reads is 1.130, which is like really, really sweet. So you mark that down, and the date, I always forget the date, which gets me in trouble. That is our starting gravity. What's going to happen now is I'm going to put the fruit in it, and then I'm going to put potassium metebisulphate in it. What that is it kind of finds and gets rid of unwanted bacteria and wild yeast. Also binds to the oxygen in the wine, and it neutralizes the oxygen before it can damage your wine. And then before you bottle, it helps stabilize it. But I'm going to put that in, and it's best to wait 24 hours because what it does is it gives off sulfur gas, and that's liable to kill your yeast or harm it. So it's better to wait 24 hours. After 24 hours, they also call them Camden tablets too, but they do their job. The sulfur gas dissipates and everything's fine. Then you can put your yeast in. But if you put your yeast in too soon, they're liable to stunt your yeast or kill it. So wait 24 hours in between. There's no rush. You're not in a big rush. Rinsed off my hydrometer, put it aside. I'm very proud because I haven't broken it. I got one that was broken when I got it, so that doesn't count. And this is basically just vegetable juice and simple sugar water. Not very lovely or appetizing, but it'll get there. Okay. I can pour this back in here because this is sterilized. Everything's all sterilized. Now, as I said before, my hands are washed and sanitized, so I'm gonna demonstrate, as a matter of fact, why making wine in one of these jugs can be a pain in the neck. I mean, if that's all you got, it's all you got. If you like it and you really want to get into it, you should probably get, I think I like the wide mouth the best, but at least get some professional equipment. And as I said, first thing on the list is a hydrometer. People I learned this from said you get 2 hydrometers. The first one you're going to break, and the second one you're going to have on the shelf for when you break that. All right. I know this is tedious, but hey, look at the bright side. At least I didn't make you watch me cut up all them cucumbers and tomatoes. The cucumbers, there are 3 very large cucumbers, regular cucumbers, peeled. Now, if you're like me, I had this instinct where I thought, oh, I know. Maybe I'll put the peels in there, and that'll give it extra flavor and boost it. And I started reading up on it, and I had come to find out Apparently, if you put the cucumber peels in as well, it gives it a bitter taste. And we don't want that. We want light and crisp and nice. I did put the seeds in the gel. Again, a lot of people say not to. I do because I think that's where all the flavor is in a cucumber. And in a tomato, too. And you're going to filter it out anyways, so I want all the taste I can get. Like I said, I never felt that they were bitter. You eat hot sauce and the seeds are pretty much the best part. Okay, now, in go the tomatoes. Sorry to make you watch this. You know what? Tell you what I'm going to do. Because I love you so much, I'm going to put it on pause, put this stuff in here, and then I'll be back in a second. That wasn't too bad. Tomatoes are in. I'm going to put the cucumber pieces in. If you notice, this is why they're so green. I cut them up and I froze them overnight. And they just keep getting water and water. But I left them in pieces because they'll probably fall apart more in the wine. But I thought if I leave them in chunks, it'll be easier to get it to clear out later. It took forever to get these things to room temperature. I couldn't believe it. I had to put water in there, and I even think I microwaved them a tiny, tiny bit just to bring them up to room temperature. I don't know about you, but I don't think there's anything better than the smell of fresh cucumber. Just says summer to me. Uh-oh. We have an issue. Well, I guess we're going to have 2 bottles of this, aren't we? Running out of room in the bottle. That's a good thing, though, because then you can see what to do. We're going to save that. Don't throw that away. Okay. Nice party. The cucumbers are not sticky, thank God. Not yet, anyways. Look at all the juice coming out of those. Stuff I'm putting in there now, basically I want flavor. Oops. Okay. All right. There we go. And I'm going to take another gravity reading. So we have our sugar, we have our water, we have our juice, we have our fruit. Still a half gallon of water there. Not sure where we stand, so I'm going to take another gravity reading and see what it says. If we need to add some water, we can get away with that. All right, let's see. There. And I didn't get anything inside. Very proud of me. Okay, so a little bit of foam here. Let's see. Again, my hands are clean. Okay. So, one, 2.5. I think. Is it? 1. Oh, okay. 1.126. That's a good place to start. Yes. I had to think about that for a minute. Yeah. 1 point, rather. Gotta remember that point. 1.126. Well, this way when I can't find it on my cards later, I can look it on the video. And then I'm going to put this back in here. So one thing to all you new brewers, if you didn't figure this out, part that sucks about this is not so much the flies and the stench and the endless waiting. The part that really sucks about this is it's like sticky all over everything. I mean, Brian over at City Steading, he's like that. He can't stand to have his hands sticky. And brother, I feel your pain. I'm just like that. It just makes me crazy. But I'm digressing a little. So I'm going to take the hydrometer out. We got our reading. And see, I didn't write it down. Dummy. Where did I put that? Okay. All right. Okay. So I ended up going 1.126. I somehow lost 4 points of gravity. Probably because of the water and, yeah, probably because of the water in the fruit. That's probably what did it. Good thinking, Mark. I knew I'd get it sooner or later. Okay, so I'm going to put this back in here. At this point, remember, this is just cucumber water, tomato water, or tomato juice, whatever, and the flesh from those vegetables. Well, fruits, actually. One's a fruit, one's a vegetable. And then the sugar water that I made. We're not putting any yeast in it yet. So, we have our must. Got the spring water, got the sugar, got our cucumbers, we got our tomatoes, we got the juice from both of those, we got our black tea for tannins. And now, like I told you, we're going to put a tiny bit, a 1/16 of a teaspoon of potassium metabisulphate in there, okay? Told you what I did before, but I'll tell you again. Yes, I had to get my little cards. Potassium metabisulphate. I have a hardest time saying that. What it does is it finds and eliminates bacteria and wild yeast that you don't want in your wine. And it binds to oxygen and keeps that from destroying your wine from the inside out. It's called oxidization. And then lastly, when you go to bottle it, it's one of the things you use to stabilize it so you don't end up with bottle of bombs. But at this point, it's just to protect it from wild yeast and bacteria. You don't need much. Like I said, this is a gallon jug, so we're using 1/16 of a teaspoon. That's the little spoon, not the big one. And just take 1/4 of that. See, this is 1/4 teaspoon. Half of that is 1/8, and then half of that again is a 1/16. Very, very, very little. You don't need. I'm not going to show you because you won't be able to see it. See? Can you see that? Can you see that? Zoom. Oh, can you see that actually? There. Yeah, I guess you can. Okay, there we go. We're going to put that in there. In my mind, that looks like such a small amount that I would think it couldn't do anything, but my mind is often wrong about things. Okay, so another piece. Sticky fingers. I hate sticky fingers. It drives me crazy. Okay, we're going to shake it up one more time because we want to mix that in there. This is the stuff now. It's going to go after wild yeast and bacteria, and it's going to do that by giving off sulfur. So for the next 24 hours, it's going to give off stinky sulfur smell. So we're going to punch a hole in that balloon just in case. But it's probably going to stink. And it's okay. It's supposed to do that. And then that's going to dissipate, and that's when we can go ahead and pitch our yeast. If we do it now, that potassium metebisulphate, also known as Campton tablets, that'll interfere with the yeast or even kill it. So we're not going to do that for 24 hours. Hello. It is 24 hours later, and I am back with our tomato cucumber wine. It's time to put our peptic enzyme in. As you recall, I put the potassium metebisulphate in 24 hours ago. As I told you, what that does is it kills wild yeast and bacteria in your wine and kind of protects it. It's kind of like a prophylaxis, really. But it does that by creating sulfur, and that kills the bacteria and the wild yeast. But it takes about 24 hours for that to dissipate out safely. Not safely, but so it doesn't smell or ruin the rest of your must. So this is why we waited 24 hours. All the sulfur is dissipated, all the bad stuff's out, and now it's time to put our peptic enzyme in. Now, most of the videos that I've seen and the people I've learned from generally put everything in all together. I've had lukewarm success with my wines. I've had one that finished out completely dry. It's delicious. I love it. And I made it with canned fruit, believe it or not. I changed up my methods a little bit when I did that. So I'm going to take some of the things that I used there and apply them to this wine. That being giving time in between each step and each chemical that I add. There's no rush, so I'm going to do it that way. Anyways, we're doing our peptic enzyme today. We're going to do a half a teaspoon. We're going to put it in our must. We're going to shake it up, and we're going to put our little balloon back on, and then we're going to wait 24 more hours. I have North Mountain Supply peptic enzyme. I said it right the first time. This is the one everybody uses in all the videos, and we'll see. It's my first time using it, so we'll see if it works. I'm going to use a half teaspoon. These are all cleaned, sanitized, soap and water and bleach. You can't see it, but trust me, this is a half teaspoon. I'm just going to put it right in. Not really much to it. Wasn't really worth making a video for, but then again, my hands are clean and bleach sanitized. I do that anyways. That's a funny thing because I'm obsessive compulsive about having my hands dirty. I don't like it. Now we'll put our little balloon back on. These are neat. I like a butt for a bag, and we get all kinds. I got ones that got little moose spots on them, and I got ones that are shaped like little hearts. These are silver. I got gold ones too. Woohoo! It's a party. Now it's not going to start building pressure because our yeast are not in there yet. That goes in another 24 hours. I've read 10 hours, I've read 15 hours, I just read 24. So to be on the safe side, I am going to wait 24 hours because that will give the peptic enzymes 24 whole hours to get functioning and get working and doing their job before the yeast come in and kill them. The yeast will kill the peptic enzyme. So by waiting and giving it time in between, you give the peptic enzyme actually time to do its job. Like I said, we're not in a rush, we're not in a hurry, so I'm going to wait. I find it kind of ironic, actually, because I am not a patient person, and I ended up with two hobbies that require an immense amount of patience. Winemaking, and I do rock tumbling, too. Can you believe it? That's funny. Anyways, I'll see you in another 24 hours. Bye. So we're back. It's the big day. It's been another 24 hours. We made our must. Then we put our potassium metebisulphate in it. Remember, that is to kill stray bacteria and wild yeast. Then we waited another 24 hours for that to do its magic. And we put our peptic enzyme in. That's to help clear your wine and bring out your fruit flavors. We waited yet another 24 hours. And now what we're going to do today is our yeast nutrient and our yeast, our 71B beast yeast. And then we'll get our fermentation started. I can't wait. I'm so excited. So here we go. According to what manufacturers suggest, we are going to hydrate our yeast. I'm going to start by taking our little balloon off. And I'm going to take a little bit of liquid from here. I'd say wine, but it's not quite wine yet. Just a tiny bit. That is about a quarter cup. And I have my yeast nutrient in here. If you keep it in the refrigerator, like I do, make sure you take it out and bring it up to room temperature, because the cold will kill the yeast. I'm generous. I like to use 1, 2, 3 tablespoons. And then we're going to use 1 teaspoon. It's a half teaspoon, because I can't find my other one. But we're going to use 1/2. 1 teaspoon of yeast. Then we're going to let this sit here for about 15 or 20 minutes to hydrate. And I'll be back. Okay, we've given it a little bit of time. Our yeast swirled it around. It's getting a little foamy. That's what we're looking for. And there's really nothing to this. It's called pitching the yeast. We're just going to pour our yeast in. I've got some yeast nutrient in here. I'll do a video and show you how to make that. It's not hard. And I've got our Lalvin 71B yeast. And that's it. Now it's time to go in. Everybody in the pool. Yay! And I'll put all of it in there. Gonna rinse it out because there's a lot of good stuff still in this jar we don't want to waste. Again, spring water, not tap. So you can control how much water you're putting in it. Put that in yonder. Again, hands are clean and sterilized. Shake it really, really well. And not forget our little balloon. Now, this has already got a little gas in it from before, but I think we'll force that. There we go. Now, this is going to build some gas. Make sure you have a hole in the balloon. If you don't, it's going to explode. Once you put your little balloon on, I know you can't see this, but I have a wire in my hand. This is when, and this is important, this is very important, you must puncture a hole in the balloon. I know it sounds counterintuitive. You got to put a hole in there to let the carbon dioxide escape, otherwise the balloon will pop. And you don't want that because then there'll be wine all over the place. And believe me, when you get wine all over the place, and you will one day, trust me, it is very, very sticky. And you know me and sticky. Yay! Yuck! So, that's it. We put our potassium metebisulphate in. We waited 24 hours. We put our peptic enzyme in. And we waited another 24 hours. Now, we have pitched our yeast and our nutrient. And now we're going to wait a little bit more than 24 hours. We're going to go for about 5 to 7 days. You watch the bubbles, and I know you're not really supposed to go by the bubbles, but they're an indicator. Watch your bubbles, watch your balloon. When your balloon goes limp, it's time to check it. After about a week or so, we'll check the gravity again, see where we stand. But for now, I'm going to put this with its other little friends, and I'll see you in about a week. Bye. Okay, so the equipment went awry for some reason. So the part of the video where I took a hydrometer reading and found out that the wine was finished and dry, and the part that I took the fruit out and took the wine off the leaves and put it into a secondary fermenter, all of that was lost, unfortunately. But I didn't want to leave you hanging, and I wanted to come back and tell you about that. It's not very difficult. Like I said, take a hydrometer reading. If it tells you it's ready, that's time. I took the fruit, I threw it away. Trust me, you don't want to eat that. And I put that, as you see, right here in these glass bottles. And it's clear and beautiful. If you look closely right here, it's getting really clear, and it's traveling down the bottle and settling. It's going to be beautiful. It already smells nice and tastes pretty good too. I like to call it Summer Breeze because it's a nice crisp summer wine, and it's cucumber with just a touch of tomato, made from fresh fruit, of course. And it comes out to about 13% ABV, so that's not bad for a wine. Anyways, I didn't want to leave you hanging, and I wanted to tell you what happened with the rest of the video. Keep in mind, I've got all kinds of other videos coming up. Here's one that's going to be fun. And I want to thank you for joining me here at Papa Mark's Place. No, don't forget, like, subscribe, hit that notify button so you don't miss any new content. I'd love to hear from you if you want to leave a comment. Like I said, nothing political, please. And have a great day. See you next time. Bye.